Michael Treem and his 17-year-old son Derek had been kayaking on Lake Michigan many times before, but this April afternoon was different.
We had never been out on water that cold before, and just wanted to do this for the experience. So we were going to go out, have fun, and come back. And our intention was an hour at most, and then come back before it got dark.
Michael reminded his son to be careful.
He gave me a quick briefing, like, don't mess around.
They paddled out about 3/4 of a mile to get past the choppy waters closer to shore.
And that day, the swells were probably 3 to 4 feet, but they're rolling, so it just kind of goes up and down like this. It's actually very calming once you get out into the open water.
But as they turned to head back, Michael's kayak started taking on water. Then a large swell hit the kayak, throwing Michael into the frigid lake.
Oh my goodness, what am I gonna do? That was the first thought that ran through my mind.
Michael knew his odds of making it out of this alive were slim.
My initial reaction, to be honest, was I'm going to die here. All of my training, all of my swimming that I've ever been through, I recognized that I was too far out, the water was too cold for me to survive the distance back to the beach.
Yet he made up his mind to fight for his life.
I literally thought, if God wants me today, he's gonna have to take me because I'm not gonna give up.
Michael swam to Derek's kayak, but couldn't get in without sinking them. He held onto a handle on the back of the kayak as both paddled furiously toward shore.
I did do a little bit of praying that God would help me to pull through this and help my dad to pull through it.
Within 10 minutes, Michael's body was shutting down.
I had become so weak that my hand slipped out of the handle and I went underwater, completely underwater.
3 times Michael slipped under the water. They had gotten to about 150 yards from shore when several young men walking on the beach spotted them.
911, what is the exact location of your emergency?
I'm here on the Indiana Dunes beach, in front of the national park, and there's someone out in the water in a kayak and someone in the water, and they're yelling for help.
By now, they were in only 4 feet of water, and 2 ran out to help, while another called 911.
They came into the water, 2 men grabbed me, picked me up, and carried me up onto the beach.
How long has he been in the water?
They think like 20 minutes. They just got him out. They're walking him up to the pavilion.
It was a little scary, He's my dad, so if I were to lose him, and then I'd feel like it was my fault.
Soon, emergency responders arrived and took him to Porter Regional Hospital. As doctors treated him for hypothermia, they knew it could go either way.
Well, when Michael came in, his temperature was around 84 degrees, which is classified as moderate hypothermia. At that level, your heart rate tends to slow down, your increased risk for arrhythmias, so your heart could go into an arrhythmia that's not compatible with life.
There was also a high risk that he would suffer long-term kidney and muscle damage. But as Michael's body temperature approached normal, it was clear he was going to be fine.
Once I became stable and I was starting to get my mental capacity back, that's when I started being thankful and to God that I was alive.
In fact, after only 4 hours in the hospital, Michael was free to go home.
The physician walked in and I'll never forget this, he had my medical chart in his hand and literally threw it on the counter and looked right at me and he said, "If you don't believe in God, you need to right now." And he said, "I can't believe I'm gonna say this," but he goes, "I have no reason to keep you. We're gonna release you."
From the young men appearing at the right time to his quick and full recovery, Michael says there's only one explanation.
I definitely know that it was God through this whole process. To have the ability, just the physical strength and the mental strength to make it back to the beach was beyond my capacity. And to have everything happened in the sequence that it did was just a confirmation for me of the existence of God.
Dr. Michael Woods would agree.
It sounds like a miracle to me, though. It's great that he was able to pull through. There's no long-term sequelae, as we call it, where you have an injury and then you live with a piece of the injury for a long period of time. So yeah, that was excellent.
God, well, gave him the strength to pull through and push. Just keep holding on.
He and his family are thankful for God's protection and grace.
God was there the whole time and keeping me alive, and he gave me the strength and the will to fight. That's where that came from. That wasn't mine, that was his. I only endured a short amount of pain and trauma, which is a miracle in itself. That's God, that's working. I should have died and he pulled me out of that. So it's a story about how God can perform miracles. I am blessed because he chose to save me. And then he pulled me out of the water alive.